In the year 1800, China produced nearly one-third of the world's economy. By 1900, it was one of the poorest, weakest nations on Earth. Foreign powers carved it up. Its cities were humiliated, its people starved. Fast forward to today. China is a global superpower, the world's factory, a technological rival to the West, a nation reshaping global politics, trade, and warfare. So here's the real question. How did China rise from collapse, colonization, and chaos to challenge the world's most powerful nations in just over a century? The answer isn't simple. It's brutal, calculated, and deeply misunderstood. And once you see the full story, you'll realize China's rise was never accidental. China's transformation is one of the most dramatic reversals in human history. No empire fell harder in the 19th century. No nation suffered more internal destruction in the 20th. And no country rebuilt itself faster in the modern era. This isn't just a story about economics or politics. It's about survival. Because every decision China made, every sacrifice, every crackdown, every reform, was driven by one obsession: never be humiliated again. To understand modern China, you have to start with the moment everything went wrong. For thousands of years, China saw itself as the center of the world. It didn't compete with other nations, it didn't copy them, it didn't fear them. Foreigners were barbarians. Trade was controlled, innovation slowed. While Europe industrialized, China stayed traditional, and that arrogance came at a terrible price. In the 1800s, British merchants flooded China with opium. When Chinese officials tried to stop it, Britain responded with war. Cannons crushed wooden ships. Modern weapons destroyed ancient armies. China lost badly. The Opium Wars forced China to open its ports, surrender territory, and accept foreign control. Hong Kong was taken. Cities were humiliated. Sovereignty vanished. This period became known as the Century of Humiliation, and it broke China's belief that it was untouchable. But that was only the beginning. Foreign powers weren't China's only problem. Inside the empire, everything was cracking. Corruption was rampant. The population exploded, famine spread. Then came one of the deadliest events in human history, the Taiping Rebellion. A man claiming to be the brother of Jesus led a massive uprising against the Qing dynasty. Entire cities burned, millions died. By the time the rebellion ended, over 20 million people were dead. China survived, but barely. The empire staggered forward, weakened, and divided. And in 1911, it finally collapsed. The Qing dynasty fell. The emperor was gone. After 2,000 years of imperial rule, China had no idea what came next. And what followed was chaos. Without an emperor, China fractured. Regional warlords carved up territory. Armies fought constantly. Civilians suffered endlessly. Then came something worse. Japan invaded. Cities were bombed. Villages were erased. The Nanjing Massacre shocked the world. China was fighting for survival on two fronts, against foreign invaders and itself. Out of this chaos, two forces emerged: the nationalists and the communists. Both wanted to rule China. Only one would survive. But before that battle could be settled, China would endure its darkest years yet. In 1949, Mao Zedong won. The People's Republic of China was born. Land was seized. Industries were nationalized. Opposition disappeared. Mao promised equality, strength, and independence. But his vision came at a devastating cost. The Great Leap Forward aimed to industrialize China overnight. Instead, it caused the worst famine in history. Tens of millions died. Then came the Cultural Revolution. Schools closed. Intellectuals were persecuted. History was erased. China was unified, but traumatized. Yet something important happened during this era. China became self-reliant. No foreign masters. No external control. For the first time in a century, China stood alone. And when Mao died, a new strategy emerged. One that would change everything. In 1978, China made a move no one expected. It opened its economy. Under Deng Xiaoping, ideology took a back seat to results. It doesn't matter if a cat is black or white, Deng said. As long as it catches mice, private businesses were allowed. Foreign and investment welcomed. Markets cautiously reintroduced. China didn't abandon control. It weaponized it. Cheap labor, massive population, central planning with capitalist tactics. Factories exploded across the country. Exports flooded global markets. While the world debated ideology, China built. But that's not the craziest part. In 1978, China made a move no one expected. It opened its economy. Under Deng Xiaoping, ideology took a back seat to results. It doesn't matter if a cat is black or white, Deng said. As long as it catches mice, private businesses were allowed. Foreign investment welcomed. Markets cautiously reintroduced. China didn't abandon control. It weaponized it. Cheap labor, massive population, central planning with capitalist tactics. Factories exploded across the country. Exports flooded global markets. While the world debated ideology, China built. But that's not the craziest part. For decades, China was known for one thing: cheap manufacturing. But quietly, that changed. China invested heavily in education, infrastructure, and technology. High-speed rail, megacities, advanced research. Companies like Huawei, Tencent, and Alibaba rose fast. China didn't just copy. It scaled. Faster production, massive data, government-backed innovation. And unlike the West, China didn't separate business from state power. They worked together. The result? A country that could build entire cities in months, launch advanced satellites, and challenge Silicon Valley. China was no longer catching up. It was competing. Today, China is everywhere. Supply chains, global loans, digital infrastructure. Through projects like the Belt and Road Initiative, China extends influence across continents. But its rise comes with controversy, strict surveillance, limited freedoms, total political control. To China's leaders, this isn't oppression. It's insurance. Because they remember the 19th century. They remember humiliation. They remember collapse. And they are determined never to repeat it. But here's the question the world is now asking. Can China's model sustain itself? Or will control eventually slow innovation? History hasn't answered yet. China's rise wasn't fueled by luck. It was forged by trauma. A nation that fell harder than any other, learned faster than anyone expected. From imperial arrogance, to colonial humiliation, to revolutionary extremism, to calculated global dominance. China didn't just modernize. It adapted. And the real lesson isn't about China alone. It's about what happens when a civilization decides that survival matters more than ideology.